The killers on this team, you have to understand where these guys are at all points because of the fact that there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of killing between those two.
Well, I gotta say, the Brazilian region is definitely one of the hardest region to play. But not just the Brazilian region. The European region is definitely tough because it comprises so many other countries battling it out against one another. And in the end of it all, the Portuguese team, Mundo, came up on top and defied all competitions. And they have been the elites of the elites within the European region for time and time again. And this time, seeding their way in as the Blitzkrieg. They will be showing us their dominating performance when it comes down to their time in the Free Fire Pro League. And this is what they do. They go in your face. Blitzkrieg. Glue walls after glue walls, they are in your face and everyone will cower in fear. But will all the other teams behind us cower in fear? We gotta find out.
Okay, one team that's not going to cower in any sort of fear is going to be Evos Divine. This is a team from Indonesia, very strong team. They were actually my favorites last year.
Ooh.
And the thing is that they actually kind of didn't have the greatest performance. They were in top 8, but that was pretty much it, right? They saw the brother company in Evos Phoenix. They actually ended up winning the finals. And this is one of those things where it's a lot at stake for them, right? They obviously want to do much better than that top 8 performance they had last year, but also they want to make sure that they're the better of the two Evos' teams here. We're going to have to see what happens. Mr. 05, this guy is a stone cold killer. You watch out where this guy is because he's going to make action happen. He's going to get all of his kills. You do need to be careful about him. Very strong team. I expect to see them in the top 6 at least.
Stone Cold Killer?
Yes.
How about Stone Cold Killers? Because when it comes down to Team Flash, they are not going to be stopping in any form of competition. Previously known as Bust the Sky, they have been in the world stage before. And I gotta have to say, Bio, Bloody, and Shin, they have been here before and they are here to set another statement under Team Flash. They've recruited Brian, which understandably is a veteran within the Vietnam scene, and they do have a new player called Florin. He actually is pretty darn new. He actually started his Free Fire esports career only at the start of 2022. But don't count him out. He is one of the cold-blooded killers, as we can see.
Okay, we have nothing but stone cold killers in this Free Fire World Series. Let's be honest, there's so many of them.
Pretty much
everybody is
right
scary.
Now.
Everybody is something that you don't want to deal with.
Yes.
And this is the top of the top, right? We have seen hundreds of teams make their way into the Free Fire World Series. Another one that survived was the Latin winner, and this is going to be Minerals Esports. This is a team that had a little bit of change, right? They had 2 new people, Fede and Jota. Both of these guys went in, and they're kind of new to the Free Fire World Series stage, but they're here now. And Jota, my God, this guy is an assassin. This guy, you got to watch out for. They're going to do very well. This is a team that went 11th place, got themselves into the finals, very similar to Vivocade. They're here now because of that, and they've got the #1 seed, and this is a team that you got to be careful. I really like Minerals Esports as my dark horse.
Dark horse. Speaking of which, well, Minerals Esports may be the dark horse to you, but in my opinion, the truest dark horse gotta have to go to Farang Esports. I'm not gonna lie, when it comes down to the MCP Major Season 3, a lot of us, the Malaysians, the Filipinos, as well as the Cambodians, we all looked at Farang and we're just like, they got first place? That does not mean that they did poorly. They actually did so well because we did not see that coming at all. They are the teams that play in the shadows of the enemies. They made sure that they creep in. They do whatever that they can to make sure that they rise up slowly but consistently. And they made sure that they get the kills, the points, the placement points, whatever it is, while no one suspects them at all. The truest dark horse is definitely them, and they shine the brightest, well, ironically, in the shadows.
Okay, now you're kind of like talking as if this team, Farang Esports, is a whole bunch of, Joe from you, right? They're a little bit of stalkers. They're kind of just hiding around. You got to be a little bit careful where these guys are. I'm a little hesitant about that. The reason why these guys were in the shadow, so to speak, is because in MCP, they had Blacklist International.
Yes.
Man, both very strong teams, and I thought that they were going to be the favorites.
Even
and they
Todak.
were going to be in, and Todak as well, right? But the thing is that they surpassed everything. It's any given, like, Sunday, so to speak, in this one. In this case, it happens to be Saturday. Saturday, but it's one of those things where anything can happen. It's a grand finals battle royale. It's 0-0. All the kills are going to be there. But let me talk about the last team. This is going to be the MENA, the qualifier. This is going to be WASC. This is a team that, you know, again, you talk about the shadows. Things are kind of scary. We don't know too much about them. We haven't seen other than a couple VODs here and there in some of the tournament events. So this is a team that might surprise people. They are in the shadows. Watch out for WASC.
Mr. Ali, that guy is a menace. Actually, you know what? It's not exactly Mr. Ali that is quite a menace because we are, at least for the side of Team WASC, none of them actually had experience when it comes down to the world stage, at least in the Free Fire World Series, right? But we cannot downplay them. Mr. Ali, Dowley, Abdul, Zizox, all of them were crazy. They knew exactly what they needed to do. Their chemistry is perfect. They know that they are really good at long-range battles. That is the most important thing. And when they go for long-range battles, they get someone knocked down. And when they have the numbers advantage, they rush in, kind of like a semi-blitzkrieg, like what Vastamundo does.
Yeah, but okay, that playstyle kind of goes into the fact that you might be, I would say, dependent on the map. I mean, Kalahari is one of those things where you have that long-range opportunities, right? The engagement can be played. You can play it exactly how you want. And we're going to see all three, which I'm happy to see. We're going to be playing 6 maps. It's going to be kind of crazy here. But, I mean, I'm very excited to see how all the teams react to all the different maps.
Well, this is the point in time whereby we have to sit tight and wait because we have quite a show for all of you guys at home, no matter where you are. So make sure you guys hang on tight, sit tight, because we have quite a lot of content for you, starting off with the trailer of the Free Fire World Series 2022 Sentosa.
What a great move! This shot was insane! Oh, the squad is coming for him!
是时候应该要汇合了。
Gotta hurry up once again!
Dare to be a hero. Hero बनने का साहस दिखाओ. Atrévete a ser un héroe. กล้าที่จะเป็นฮีโร่ Berani menjadi wira. Начни путь героя.
Mga hasmadin bayani.
تجرأ لتكون بطلا. Hirohaba 사హ스 어전 করুন. 敢追求做英雄. kahramanlığa hazır mısın?
Ouse ser um herói.
Chưa là thái độ hero bane.
Bản lĩnh ước định anh hùng. Berani jadi pahlawan.
to the limit. I don't do it for the fame or the credit, but I'm gonna be the rookie of the you and I finish. If I want it, and I'ma take it, and I'm gonna make it. Facing the thing you see ways I don't turn into celebrations. I am courageous, and may just be the greatest alive. I become a sensation when the heroes arrive.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the Free Fire World Series 2022 Sentosa. I'm your host, Charmaine E, and boy, are we in for a fun time tonight. It's been a journey to get here, guys. Oh my gosh. I wish you could feel the adrenaline, you could feel the nerves, the joy, the excitement coming to you live from the Resorts World Sentosa here in Singapore. I'm Charmaine E, and I'm so happy to be your host today. And you know what? We had an amazing time leading up to this moment. We had 10 teams in the play-ins, 4 made it here today, 12 teams behind me here vying for that championship title. We have a prize pool of $2 million US, and I am so excited to find out who is going to be our MVP tonight. Who's going to get the most points tonight? We've had cheers, we've got teams ready, everybody is ready, we're set, players are all set. It's going to be an exciting time, a real thrilling final. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to that championship title, before we get the battle started, let's check out this finals interview.
เรื่องความประมาทครับในตอนที่แต้มเรานำเราประมาทแล้วชอบผิดพลาดซ้ำๆแบบนี้บ่อยๆครับในตอนที่แต้มเรานำเราเคยผิดพลาดเราเรียนรู้แล้วเราจะไม่มีข้อผิดพลาดอีกตอนนี้เราแข็งแกร่งครับแล้วก็แข็งแกร่งขึ้นกว่าเดิมด้วยเราพร้อมแล้วที่จะป้องกันแชมป์โลก
Eu na nossa jornada não mudaria nada porque tudo que nós batalhamos, tudo que nós fizemos serviu como ajuda e como apoio para nós hoje estarmos aqui aptos a representar a baixo do mundo num campeonato mundial e eu penso que hoje tenho uma equipa que está preparada para isso. O que não nos fez desistir de lutar para a tão sonhada vaga para o campeonato mundial foi ser o nosso principal sonho e ao longo desse trajeto temos sempre grandes pessoas a nos apoiar, a nunca desistirem de nós e eu acho que o que nos deixa mais felizes e orgulhosos é realmente nós conseguimos, após a terceira vez campeões, conseguimos a tão sonhada vaga e conseguimos orgulhar os nossos fãs que nunca se nos deixaram à parte.
Động lực khiến mình không bỏ cuộc là khi được thi đấu cùng đồng đội và khi giành chiến thắng cùng đồng đội thì khi đó mình mới thỏa mãn. Đương nhiên rồi, ai cũng mong muốn một lần chạm tay vào chiếc vô địch và lần này mình sẽ làm được.
Ya suatu penghormatan lah karena gue bisa wakil Indonesia lagi dan ya yang pastinya fans-fans gue juga ngarepin gue menang dan itu sebagai semangat gue di sini buat ngebuktiin kalau Indonesia bisa juara. Kalau dikasih satu hal yang buat dirubah untuk tim itu ya nggak ada sih semuanya masih sama. Yang penting mereka masih mantepin role-nya dia dan ya nggak ada yang mesti diubah lagi.
สิ่งที่ยากที่สุดสำหรับเราคือการรักษามาตรฐานของทีมเพื่อไม่ให้เราพลาดในการเข้ารอบครับถ้าอยากเปลี่ยนอะไรหรอครับผมไม่อยากเปลี่ยนนะครับเพราะว่าทุกอย่างเราก็พร้อมทุกอย่างเราก็ดีหมดแล้วครับเราอยากไปเอาแชมป์โลกครับ
O que eu espero para essa final de mundial é que nós saia campeão, porque meu time está muito confiante. A gente pede ganhar um campeonato brasileiro e eu tô com a confiança lá em cima também e espero sair daqui campeão. É o que eu falo, mano, pros fãs da Loud aí, é que eu falo durante desde quando eu entrei na Loud, que eu vou jogar pela camisa, vou jogar dando meu sangue, dando a minha vida até o último momento. Até a última queda aí, que se existir chance, eu vou lutar dando a vida.
And that is what the teams and the players have got to say for themselves. But for now, welcome back to us. My name is Abstract. With me here is Holler, and of course, I will have Aris join us in a while later. But all three of us will be your casters for today's games here in the Free Fire World Series 2022 Sentosa.
And I'm super excited. We've seen 5 of the teams that made it from last year's Free Fire World Series make it all the way here, attack all around, Loud, and then both of the Evos' teams as well as Burst the Sky, which are now Team Flash as well. So we have a lot of experienced teams and we have a lot of new blood, which is going to change things up here. It's all about getting that experience and playing on the world stage.
They are here to truly show the entire world and perhaps even in their own region to a certain extent that they are the best of the best. Because you wouldn't want to settle yourself as the second best, third best, or whatever it is. You are here, world stage, flew all the way into Singapore. You gotta have to show exactly what you're made of, how long you have trained for this very moment. And this is the time where you show everything and every single ace in your your sleeve, and there's no time to be breathing at all because you gotta hold your breath for every single moment it counts.
It's all about holding your breath, and it's all about that experience. Yes, you might not have won like last time. Evo's Phoenix, I mean, they were the clear winners last year, but hey, every other team has actually gotten better, stronger, and they're definitely way more coordinated, and they're incredibly hyped up.
It is
You're
not
hearing
gonna,
everything.
it is not going to be the same thing.
Of course.
Definitely not going to be the same thing like we seen in last year. Now we have such big names coming in. And honestly, Evo's Divine, it didn't seem like they managed to get that much of a work done last year.
Yeah.
But this time, after looking at their qualifying stages, or rather their own region's dominating performance, I am not surprised to see how well they're going to be doing from other teams out there.
Okay, but if we're going to look at the teams that actually did made it, we have the Brazilian representative, Lau, we have Minerals Esports, Evo's Phoenix from Thailand, Team Flash from Vietnam, Evo's Divine from Indonesia, and Vastamundo from Europe. They made it all the way here, as well as the other 6 teams.
Well, we're gonna have to take a look at WASC that will be representing the Middle East and North Africa. Farang Esports representing the Malaysia, Cambodia, and the Philippines region. Echo Esports that will be representing the Indonesia region. Attack All Around representing the Thailand region. Vivocade representing the Brazilian region, and V Gaming representing the Vietnam region.
And I'm happy to see all of them. Even the play-in teams, all of those are killers. Those are scary teams that no one really wants to play against. Yes, they had a bigger brother, so to speak, that actually got automatically qualified into it. But if we're going to look at the prize pool of this Free Fire World Series, absolute monster. First place, $500,000, $500,000. Second place with $250,000. Third place with $100,000, as well as fourth place. But fifth place is,
well, completely bonkers. Even though they may be finding themselves at 5th place or perhaps even 6th place, they will still be going back home with $90,000. And I would say the same for 7th and 8th. They will be going back home with $80,000. 9th and 10th with $70,000, and 11th and 12th with $60,000. Even though they may drop at the bottom of the finals, and I really do not want to know who are these teams gonna be, they are still going to be going home with a lump sum of money, and that amount is insane and bonkers.
Yeah, but they earned it. Let's be honest. They played regionals after regionals, qualifiers after qualifiers. They've gone through hundreds of teams. This is the top 12. This is the creme de la creme. This is the top in terms of what you're going to see, and you're going to see a lot of how it's going to happen. But, I mean, let's look at the points in terms of how this whole system is going to work through.
It is going to be the same exact way of point system you see in every tournament you see within of the Free Fire universe. Whenever you find yourself a booyah, you'll be going back home with 12 points for that very specific round. And anything after that is a decreasing number from 9 points all the way to 1 point, from 2nd place all the way down to 10th points. Sorry, 2nd place to 10th place. If you find yourself to be one of the unlucky few to be in 11th place and 12th place, then I'm sorry, you're gonna have to receive no placement points for that very specific round. But that is not exactly over. Every kill you get can still net you a single point.
Yeah, and kills, in my opinion, are the most important thing. It's going to add a lot of consistency. Some things happen where you talked about luck in terms of placement points. A lot of that can affect in terms of how you place out in the end, but kills is all about that. If you're able to just mechanically outclass everybody and skill them, you're just going to get those kills. But let's talk a little bit about tiebreaker rules here. If the points end up being tied at the end of the day, we're going to actually break it by the number of booyahs that you win. So that's going to be the most important thing. The second piece is going to be the total number of kills. Again, reason why kills are so important. And then the final one, of course,
because of the fact you don't have a booyah. So as much as kills is important, booyah is very important, and thus every single team needs to exercise caution with how they would want to balance these two.
And it's going to be played on the maps. If you're new to Free Fire, or you happen to be a veteran viewer, we see the same 3 maps, but they're going to be repeated. Bermuda, Kalahari, and Purgatory, and it's going to just swap back in. Bermuda and Purgatory being somewhat the faster, smaller place maps. But what are your thoughts on Kalahari?
Kalahari is one of the maps that really destroys teams. It doesn't matter if you are a pro team. I mean, technically it does matter, because all the amateur teams out there may not have a very good understanding as to how they would want to route themselves within of Kalahari because of all the cliffs and ridges and just high points of interest, right? However, pro teams, they may know the maps inside and out. But whenever you tunnel vision into a specific fight, sometimes you wouldn't even know exactly where you are retreating to, and before you know it, you're back against the wall, or perhaps backed against a cliff.
Yeah, that's going to be a terrible spot. But if we're going to talk about the maps here, you know, in terms of Bermuda, Kalahari, Purgatory, just kind of starting things out. What is your strategy? Are you kind of playing a little bit slow, a little bit patient, let to see what the other teams are doing, or are you just going to be straight out aggressive?
At this point in time, it is really difficult for us, or even for me, be able to say anything about that, because I don't think that any of these teams will be able to sit tight and play safe. Speaking of sitting, I'd like to give a huge shout out over to our official chat partner of the Free Fire World Series 2022 Sentosa, Secret Lab. If you want to play like a pro like all the other teams behind, and well, technically like us too, take a look at www.secretlab.co/2022 and look at their award-winning Secret Lab Titan Evo 2022.
Very comfortable chair, and we're going to be happy to be just kind of coasting it. We're not playing any games, unfortunately, but I'm sure that we would do much better. But that said, let's talk a little bit more about getting started here, right? Games 1 through 3, very important. You know, we saw in last year, Phoenix Force, Evo's Phoenix, they actually won the first 3. Is that going to happen again?
Well, I gotta have to say that at this point in time, a lot of these teams are gonna seem to be very, very big monsters. But Team Evo's Phoenix, well, we're gonna put them aside first, because Echo Esports, they are the biggest playable, or rather, the biggest team that ever played in the Free Fire World Series 2022 play-ins. They are the first place winners of that play-ins, which is last week.
Yeah, and it was pretty much on the back of Duts. This is a guy that has won previously 4 Predator Awards, which Predator Awards are for the most amount of kills that you win in the league. That is actually crazy. And the fact that he had 13 kills, 5 of those happened to be by grenade. So not only is he a killer with guns, but he also uses a lot of utility.
Definitely a grenadier, if I would say, or maybe even a bombardier. Now, we were talking about Evo's Phoenix previously. They are the kings of the kings. They are the team that really love to play in the high ground, and they know just how territorial they are. Whenever they find themselves in a spot where they can evaluate who are their immediate threat, do they have to deal with a certain team, or do they not have to deal with a certain team? And most of the time, they often do. The latter is, or rather the former, always leads them to having a high amount of damage per game and even great amount of kills. And despite all of that aggression and territorial advantage, Evo's Phoenix always finds themselves with a high survival time. As you can see, 17 minutes on average.
That is actually crazy. If you think about it, some teams definitely don't even hit that 17 part. But Duts, again, I talked about this guy. He is the one with 4 Predator kills. This is the guy that, you know, he's going to be cheering even on the screen right now because he knows how good he is. He's going to get all of the shots. Echo Esports, you got to be careful about him. I mean, his player stats are completely off the chain in the sense of, you know, he's not only is he accurate, he does a lot of damage, but again, he also kind of supports the team by getting a decent number of assists with 1.5.
Echo Esports is one of the teams that will be representing Indonesia. They are a hungry team, and I will say that they will fire shots whenever they have a chance to. And looking at the fact that that Dutt's accuracy at 16.8, despite all that flurry of lead that he's throwing to his opponents, I gotta have to say, I am very impressed.
All right, but Hota here, this is from Minerals Esports. This is another guy that's he's kind of new to Free Fire World Series. He hasn't had a whole lot of action, but I mean, this is one of those guys where, you know, he was just a stone cold killer. He did a ton of damage. He just rushes at you. This is only his second, you know, season in the FFL, but he had 28 kills in the league finals. 10 more kills than the second place guy. I mean, look at this guy's accuracy, 28% almost. I mean, his kills are 2.8 a game. Like, what else can you say about Hoda?
There's really nothing much, I would say, because you pretty much summed it up pretty darn nicely. Minerals Esports knew what they want to do, and Hoda being the MVP, I think he had like, what, 28 kills in FFL Latam, right? So, I don't think that all the teams out there will look at him and say,
Yeah, nobody's going to do that. Everybody wants a piece of this guy because they were going to get into that. But let's look at the head-to-head. This is kind of cheeky in the sense that you have Evo's Phoenix, last year's winner, #1, versus Loud, who was in second place, lost 21. Both of these guys, they do not want to be dealing with each other. It's going to be very interesting for the viewers and for us to watch these guys go head-to-head.
These two teams are the teams that have showed a lot of promise from last year all the way until this year, be it their own regional finals. And looking at them going head to head, the Cruise, he's been showing that he is right, well, technically off the charts, because I would say that the chart is probably broken right now. Because his amount of kills, his headshots and everything else just kind of seems like the chart can't hold it in anymore. But you know what? Speaking of unable to hold it in, I can't hold it in anymore. I just want to see game number 1.
Yeah, it's about to start. All of these players are just kind of warming up, making sure that they're good. And this is going to be an interesting experience because, you know, you're on stage with people. A lot of things have changed. Obviously, we've gone through the pandemic. Everyone's wearing their mask and they're being very safe and, you know, making sure that they have the social distancing. But this is the time where literally you can hear the guy when they're cheering, and you will hear some of the teams out there.
Yes.
It's going to be super loud and it's going to get into you. Are you going to be the aggressor in terms of volume and communication? How's that going to play one?
Well, when it comes down to playing on the LAN setting, whenever you can shout, you go for the shouts. You can either increase the morale within your team. There could be also a small little possibility that you will be able to tilt some other teams on the other side of the map.
I feel like if I were playing, I would be that guy. I might not be that great at the game, but I would just yell at other people and just kill everyone else. I would definitely have some fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, you does seem like the kind of guy, right? Just shout around, despite if whether you are the one that died or not.
Doesn't
you know,
matter.
just have fun.
Yeah.
Free Fire. This is how we come up to be. We started Free Fire just to have fun, and now we are here in the Free Fire World Series 2022 Sentosa with game number 1 coming up soon. Everyone here that's watching at home, it is time for you to bear witness. Game number 1 here in Bermuda.
Bermuda starting it off strong. This is the one that we all love. It's the feel-out process. How are you going to do it? But the thing is that, hey, there's only 6 matches. There's not a lot of time. Some of the other regionals, they play up to 9, maybe even 12 finals games. So it's going to be very high impact. Making sure that you get those points early is going to be super key, especially for some of these teams.
A lot of these teams may want to change a little bit of the directional placing and of course where do they usually drop. But with this plane path, it starts off at 12 o'clock, ending off at 6 o'clock. There could be changes. Echo Esports usually head their way over to Bullseye. Yes, indeed they will.